Okay, cool. So today I'm going to talk about the Internet of Things, robots, and super materials as design solutions for current civic challenges. And can you guys see over there? Yes. So just a little bit about me, other than the intro that I just gave. So some of the projects that I got to work on is the Get Your Bot On, which is a robotics hackathon that happened, that last weekend. And sorry, it's been a really long week. So basically, my team and I, we created a autonomous skipping rope, but the part that made it really interesting was that you were able to have a selfie taken of you and have a hashtag on Twitter. So this autonomous skipping rope will be considered, for example, like a street furniture where you just walk up, like the jungle gyms out there. You use the elliptical, so it's the same idea, and the action of the rotation and the degree of the skipping rope without having someone to do it for you, because I didn't have a lot of friends growing up, is a robotic feature. So in regards to robotics, it doesn't necessarily mean it has to have wheels. As long as it moves and is intelligent enough to do the next step, it's considered a robot. So another thing that I had the privilege to do was the bike share hackathon. And as Bianca mentioned, Pearl and Harold, we all got together and decided to design a haptic navigational wearable. So we made everything in 48 hours from scratch, and we programmed it on for the Android as well, because it's also Bluetooth based in terms of what's connected, and you can basically go cycling without pulling out your phone and actually enjoy your ride. And if your turn is coming up, it'll create a haptic feedback, a vibrating pattern to tell you where to go next. And just like I did a Google Glass and Tesla projects, and I used to specialize in fluid haptics, so that's basically feedback and RFID wallet that will tell you if your wallet's lost, and I'm a 3D printing nerd. All right, that's enough about me. All right, so I want to talk about the current civic challenges. So in regards to that, we have to figure out what are these challenges and what sectors these are in. So it could be in infrastructure, so for example, how the city moves, either by vehicle or by you, or even by light, how it turns on different wards, and health and safety. So like how safe is a neighborhood, or for yourself, how safe are you as a person being in this neighborhood, and public access to government data. So not all data is accessible. So there could be passive data, which is basically data that you cannot decipher, and it's considered like a PDF, but it's a PDF image. So you're not able to grab data from that. It's considered analog data, and data that isn't transparent. So we can find data online, but it's not available to manipulate, because there's disclosures and saying that anything of this data is represented in a poor way. You can't use it. So those are some challenges that we need to face. And economic development. I mean, with that kind of data, how can we make our city more like how can we get more jobs in this city in regards to not just having in one sector, just like engineering tech, but in different sectors, so we all benefit. In housing, I mean, it could be infrastructure as well, and how we build, and how workers are able to get housing and as well as public transportation. As we all know, we have to commute some way or another, as well as energy. I mean, like, look at the light pollution that we have here, air pollution downtown. God forbid, if you open the window and you're living in this condo, you're going to be basically breathing in a lot of byproduct particles, as well as manufacturing. Like, what manufacturing challenges we have? How can we make it safer for those who are in that? How can we save money in that? And that also applies to the oil fields as well. And politics, so like local governments, how willing are they to be flexible and supportive in terms of what we want to do and make our city better. So those are some things that we're facing, and with technology we can actually make our cities better, smarter, more efficient, and it's just by using the data that we have available, or we may not have available, but we can compile, and being smart about deciphering this kind of data and the services that we provide for them. So, as I mentioned, that means accessibility and how permanent data is. With the government, not all data is permanent. Some are very temporary, and they have a time limit in regards to it. So how do we use that kind of data to manipulate and use technology to benefit us? And accessibility, I mean, like, is it just online? Do we have to go into a physical place to get this kind of data? I mean, like, those are some things that we need to change, and there's like APIs out there that allow us to use that kind of information. It's a framework that's already set up, but it's still not enough. So the next best thing to do is basically have a community that's willing to participate and support this kind of information and actually take action to making our city better rather than just being solely dependent on our government, because I mean, like with Harper. Sorry. Okay, so.
Good answer. That's Harper.
Yeah. So Harper, yes. Okay. So in regards to Internet of Things, let me define what that is. It's basically a cloud-connected physical device that will help you. That helps you analyze information and provides feedback or some kind of new information. So it is a digital device, and it does have to connect. If it doesn't connect to a cloud or to a server or to anywhere through Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, it's not considered a form of Internet of Things. Now, it could be a wearable, it could be your laptop, it could be your Pebble. Those are things are considered under this branch. Now, we can use this data, use government data and apply it to Internet of Things. So, for example, the washing machine. I mean, it is a private product, but we could technically hack it and say, like, well, of this time period, we know that we're going to get charged X amount. So I'm going to program it and use my phone as well, or another device, and be able to control it and save money. And therefore, I'll be able to save energy throughout this entire city. So that's one thing. So like I mentioned, it's a network of physical objects. And so robots and open data. So like the idea of robots is basically to help automate things a lot easier, other than just the term Internet of Things. So automation is really important because it'll help deliver goods and services faster. So for example, I'm just like looking at my list here. Okay, so sorry about this. Can I come back to you guys with an example?
Yeah.
Alright, so another thing I want to touch base on is super materials. So why they're important is because it's their form of way of surfacing things. And with that kind of surfacing, you can actually get data. So depending on what kind of materials is it, for example, there is shaped memory alloys and polymers. So alloys is just a mixture of two different metals, and polymers is just a fancy way of plastic, the same plastics. So like shaped memory, what you can do to apply it to Civic solutions is that just say the highway out there, we can have a mixture of rubber and cement, pavement and concrete. So what that means is that over time, if winter comes and fall comes and spring comes, those changes of pressure and temperature will actually break down the material, and it's going to cost us in the end because we're going to need to fix it. So if we apply using new materials that already exist in the market, like shape, memory, polymers, and alloys, we can basically save the city thousands of dollars per year and be safe on the road, on the highways, because I mean, like, all our roads are essentially broken when spring comes. So that's one easy application to think of to help us out. And for another example is something called piezoelectric materials. So basically what that is, it will help you detect structural stresses in the material. And what that means is that if we apply this kind of technology, just say in our buildings, when we're building, we can actually figure out what part of these walls is structurally not sound before we just even look at it, we can just see it on a nano scale. So that would save us money as well as let's see what else. We could also request the bylaw for trucks that we hear, or streetcars, where there's a material there that basically senses vibrations. So with this vibration, it also absorbs it too, so we can have a quieter city and less noise pollution. Those are like some factors that are low-fi plus high-fi as well, without using a lot of digital tech to apply different solutions. Okay, so yeah, it's basically just like using different materials from outside sources and applying it to different sectors that will give it new solutions. Okay, so growth in basically opportunity sectors that will benefit these three things. Oh yeah, okay. So like manufacturing, just say industrial equipment, we could basically apply all of these to make everything streamlined, and it may be automated, but everything will be safer, and that means we'll also increase our skill set to learn and become better employees. Finance and insurance. Insurance is going to play a big part in the future when it comes to digital devices. So like it's all going to be based on usage-based insurance. What that means is that we're going to have personal pricing on ourselves rather than like our demographic selves. So like just say like auto insurance, instead of like being judged as a female, Asian, and of a particular age, I'll be judged by the car mileage that I do, where I go to, how late I go out, and how how defensive my driving is, all through devices, rather than just being judged as a person, which is pretty unfair. So what that also means is that there's gonna be, let's see what else. In terms of finances too, like banks are gonna just judge us in that way using these devices, but also means that we can increase our growth. As you know, like household monitoring systems, so there's like utility meters have now become smart meters. You can adjust your air conditioning or your heating without being at home. You can start your washer without being at home as well. So appliances are going to be a big thing. But another thing is transportation. So just making sure you can reduce fuel consumption and energy. So buildings and meters as well. And like in regards to like a smarter city, so we can have LED lighting. So instead of having the maintenance guy come out, they'll already know that it needs servicing because it's got a smart device built into it. So imagine like in a suburban area, instead of like servicing just one, you can service a whole bunch. And as well as voting, you can use voting as a way to, for us, we're very tech savvy, but maybe the generation of us may not be. But we, as a generation, have confidence issues, maybe not, in regards to voting. It's definitely not something that we have such an urge to do unless we've had really bad politicians. So, I mean, we can make voting a lot easier using IoT devices and I guess like for fires, we can use a drone to basically help us figure out where it is in a pinpointed way,